Hi, you. Greetings, y'all. Welcome to my channel. I am Sangoma Zakia L. Ken 226. I'm a white overtone world bridger. And I wanted to come on this particular plasma day because I wanted to share a wonderful experience that I encountered. So maybe like a week or 2 weeks ago, I did a few YouTube lives where I elucidated um, a form of Kundalini Yoga called the Ramadasa meditation. And I utilized this Kundalini in a specific timing pattern. I did it within the 13-day wave spell of the red moon, which deals with purification of waters and healing and things of that nature. And I just followed my heart with it, and it wasn't perfect. The video is not perfect. Um, I didn't really have a lot of people, did not join, but I decided that I was going to go forth with it and do it anyway. And so for 3, maybe 4 days during this wave spell, I guided others in the Ramadasa Kundalini Yoga meditation, which is a particular Kundalini Yoga that activates the chi, the life force, Kundalini, the Umbalini. There's various names for activating that energy, right, from the base of your spine into all of your chakra centers and out above the head. And I told people about how much spatial clearing it could create, and also it could open up dimensions, right, for aligning with various dimensions in order to bring forth things from the inner realms and the higher frequency realms. And so we did this for about 3 or 4 days, and and so I wanted to come back and share the particular experience that I have, that I know that is highly correlated to this Ramadasa meditation. Firstly, I called the meditation commanding the waters. And what this is, the main reason that I did it was to help empower people, to help them reach a state where they're able to learn how to cleanse the energy field, right? Neutralize and then activate that life force energy to access healing for others, and also to vibrationally command certain things. And I would very much like in the future to have more group sessions where we are targeting these energetic commands for healing to occur in many circumstances where we may feel like we don't have power, or in circumstances where we are maybe utilizing our powers in a haphazard way, or using our utilizing energies that sometimes can backfire on us. And so we are we are much more powerful as a group of, within a group, we're much more powerful. Excuse me, let me turn this off. We're much more powerful in a group. And I say this especially with the women because we're just naturally nurturing. And so we can have an effect on things like deciding that we're going to send healing to the children in the hospitals that may have diseases, cancer, and things of that nature. We're going to send healing to the city of St. Louis because, at this moment, and I'm just using this as an example, but at this moment, they may be going through some issues with police brutality or things of that nature. Listen, we are very much more powerful than we realize. And again, sometimes when we are distracted from, being in our center, being within the center of being balanced, right, and inner peace, right, and joy and relaxation, we are much more powerful than when we are in a state of like fragmented energies and being distracted and not realizing that we give over our power to these things that we give our attention and focus to. And we have to be really mindful when these things start occurring. You may have had a very good strong in, a very good, a few days have passed, and it's like, like you're vibing, and then, all of a sudden, someone calls you with this news, or you hear something on social media, and then our focus becomes distracted, and we don't realize that we're giving, with our words, right, we're giving our power over to these negative things, right? I'm not saying we don't, just ignore everything. I'm saying that when we become frustrated and or, sad or emotionally out of balance, we are actually lending our power and energies to these particular events. So, the main reason why I chose to teach people that meditation, again, is to direct our powers and energies, towards healing and loving and changing, transforming situations and circumstances through our focused energy, directed at particular circumstances. And because I have said this to myself that, I'm no longer asking. I'm not asking anymore. I'm commanding that these certain things be transformed, right? So we did a few days of the Ramadasa meditation, and I felt I actually had another Kundalini rising, and it was very beautiful. And more recently, actually this morning, I decided to take a walk to, there's a little fishing pier. There's actually 2 piers, like right around the corner from me. They have a boating dock out there, and so, you park, and I walk a little bit down the way, and I'm right there at the fishing pier as well. I don't know, so let me take a drive to the to the fishing pier, and And I got out the car. I wanted to really share this story with you to show you the power of activating our voices, activating our frequencies, using, some of these meditations and these techniques, right, to direct them. And so I get out in my car and I'm walking through the grass and the trees and, saying, hey, hey, trees, hey, beautiful trees. I'm speaking to them, loving on them. Where's the grass at? What y'all doing out here? Show me where the show me where the herbs at. What plants can I eat? I'm talking to nature. And then, I finally, I get to the pier, and I'm looking at the river, right? I'm right over the Savannah River, and where the pier is. So I'm looking below at the bank of the river, and usually I look down there. South Carolina had a couple years back. They had a lot of storms and everything, so there's a lot of debris and stuff like that in the waters, and some of it is still there. Sometimes people throw trash or bottles and everything like that down there. So I just noticed that the waters is, and it's not the first time. The waters can be very, they appear to be stagnant, like dark and stagnant. Not many, how those concentric waves come towards you. Not a lot of that. And I was just thinking, well, where's the river mouth? Where's the source of this water? And so I started talking to the waters, like, listen, where the fish at? Where y'all at, fish? Wake up, mother, And then I started doing my my Ramada, the mudra. And when I started speaking, wake up, divine mother, where you at? And then I just started taking pictures. I'm taking pictures on the pier, click, Gonna put some of this on Facebook. I'm just having a good time. And then I sit down, and all of a sudden I hear this rumbling underneath me, and I hear this sound. Boom, boom, boom. I get up and I look at the river, and I mean, these waves are coming towards me. Like I've been here for 2 years, and I go to that pier often. I have never seen this. There's no wind blowing. There's just these almost like ocean waves. And I'm looking to the right, I'm looking to the left, and I'm like, what? Is a ship, I'm thinking maybe a ship is coming, like a real big ship is coming, passing through. I don't know what to think. And so, at the same time, I'm tuning in, and the waves is just coming to the bank, moving with like, without a question, like this is something metaphysical, something very spiritual and metaphysical is transpiring right now. And that tone continued. It was a certain pattern, almost like something underneath the waters. The only thing I could think of, like, is it a submarine tank underneath these waters? But this is a river, Is there a well? Like, what is going on? So, by the time it subsided, I'm thinking, well, oh shoot, but let me get a video of this. And by that time it had subsided. And I was just like, wow. The videos that I made 2 weeks ago with the Rama Dasa is called Commanding the Waters. Okay? So I was speaking to the waters, and I was commanding the waters, and the waters was responding that, I am alive. I am you. Okay? And I've had a few experiences like this in my life, you know, it's not considered normal. However, it's really very normal. It's really very extremely indicative of who we are on this planet and our natural abundant powers. We can speak to nature because we are nature. And the sooner that we self-actualize, we can have these conversations and this, you know, better relationship with the Divine Mother, you know, this planet of which we live, and we can be more tuned in. We'll know when, just like the animals know when a tornado is coming, or you know something is coming. You know, we'll know to, you know, go up high in the mountains, or you know, go here because something is about to take place. We'll know where to you know, where these particular plant allies may be. We'll know the areas that may need some upliftment and some cleansing. We'll know when, you know, something is going awry, or there's a particular place that has a lot of energy, some ley lines or force fields where we may be called to that particular area to do some energy work, or to bathe in, you know, some energies from the Divine Mother, because we are the Divine Mother. The Divine Mother is in us, and she will inform us. She will, we will harmonize. We can harmonize with the Divine Mother, you know, when we don't feel well. When we, you know, when we feel we may not be in the best spirits, or we may be coming down with something, or we have particular illnesses, the mother will tell us exactly where to go and where to find particular herbs, or where to sit at. And so after, okay, when it subsided, I was waiting for it to come back, right? And the waves kicked up again. And in that time, when I looked directly into the river, a lot of the waters had cleared up. It no longer looked as murky as it was, because there was some seaweed at the shore, and before I couldn't really see down through it, but then after these two occasions of these currents pouring in, and again, no wind or anything, right? And I'm telling you, you know, you might just think, well, you know, this happens, all these ripples, and no, these were waves in the river, and the sound underneath the waters. Okay, this was not some kind of this was a synchronistic, uncoincidental event, right? Aligned with the commanding the waters energies activity, you know, that we had shared, and it was, you know, it was just really powerful. And I really have so much gratitude for the you know, for the phenomena, for the confirmation, you know, for the Divine Mother speaking directly, or you know, the relationship between, you know, the Divine Mother and me, and the mother energy in the waters, and the conversations, you know, that was had. So when I looked in the waters, I'm seeing fish. I seen two little baby fish swimming around, like swimming around. And then a little further away, I could see the activity of fish. You know, you see the little concentric circles, what have you. And it was amazing. And so I said, okay, let me go back. I'm gonna share this on Facebook. And so I go back to my car, and I'm just sitting in the car. I'm still taking in all the energies and looking through the pictures. And somebody pulls up, and it's an older couple, an older melanated couple, and I see this man I see him with a fishing rod. So I got out my car and I said, hey, how y'all doing? I said, oh, you going fishing? And I don't know, for some reason the woman didn't want to speak to me. She just kept on walking. And so I'm talking to the elder man. He got the fishing rod in hand, and he said, I said, this, I just asked him, I said, is fishing here? I said, you've been fishing here before? And he said, I actually don't know. This is my first time ever fishing here. And I'm thinking, Spirit is telling me, listen, you just activated these waters for him, to catch some fish. And I just laughed and I said, make sure you do a prayer, right? And ask for the very fish to come that wants to come to you. And he said, okay. And that was that. So I'm just truly here to say that we all have this power within us. We are all divine aspects, of divinity, of the mother, and all else. And we can truly utilize this energy to continue to evolve and use our voices, our frequencies, and our tones to help and assist others. Really. And we don't necessarily have to be, the event doesn't have to be televised, it's great to come together. I believe it's more power in numbers, but you can do things right inside your house in the comfort of your home and where nobody sees you. I used to do a lot of that. I was called to work at this plant, and it was really interesting because I didn't have the skills to work. I was called in I had been a pipe fitter helper, but I was called in as a pipe fitter, and I told the woman, I said, well, and this was after some meditations that I had done, right, mind you. And so I told the woman, I said, well, I'm not a pipe fitter. I don't want to get in trouble here. And she said, well, that's what they sent. That's what they called you for. And so I said, okay, I'm going. And so I went to the job, and the job paying $40-something an hour. And I went to the job, and they had me as a pipe fitter too. And and the guy was like, well, because they gave me a test, and I failed the test. I failed the test. He was like, he said, you ain't even a pipe fitter helper, like, let alone. He said, well, he said, I ain't gonna take your money. He said, I'm gonna take you from a pipe fitter 2 to a pipe fitter 1. So I was like, okay. Listen, they made me an escort, right? Which basically means that I had nuclear access, and that I could escort people that was specialized people that may come in the plant to do special jobs, and they don't have nuclear access. Well, if they're with me, then then it's okay. And so I basically, most days I would go meet people at the gate and bring them in, and I just walk around with them and, like, really not do a whole lot of anything. Um, However, something else that I was doing that I got pinged from spirit to do. I was working a lot with the violet flame, because at one point I had a dream that I'm laying now. I'm staying at this Airbnb. Listen, y'all, this place was beautiful. It was right off of Lake Mary in South Carolina. What's the place? Chapin, South Carolina. And there's a lake called Lake Mary, and just beautiful. I could see the waters from my window. The bed had it was a massage bed. I just pressed the button and the whole bed. I mean, from head up, feet up, and the rolling massage. It was right in. It was embedded in the bed, right? So every night I'm like, yes, this vibration is wonderful, and I had a lot of experiences, phenomena that occurred during that time. I mean, everything from meeting, what you call those, like, not elves, but like Bess people, like Bess, like the little dwarf god Bess. The whole group of them came to me one night. They came to me, right? Because there's trees and grass out there, just beautiful. And what else I was saying? Oh, so one evening I drift off to sleep, and you get into those states sometimes. I think they call it a hypnagogic state, and in between sleep and waking, and inside of I'm having a vision. I can see it, and it's like the plant that I was working at, the nuclear plant, I seen it like blowing up. Like it was going to blow up. Like self-destruct. And I said, wow. And so I got up that day for work, and, Spirit told me to send the violet flame. And so, I'm walking around with a hard hat on, and, and all this kind of stuff. And we go to our pre-job briefs, before we do work. And all I'm doing is envisioning the violet flame encircling the whole, the building that we're in. When I'm walking, to the trailer, I'm envisioning the violet flame, over all of the different buildings and materials. I'm envisioning the violet flame meet the people. I'm sending violet flame to everybody. Okay? I promise you, I'm sending violet flame to everyone. It did not matter what they looked like. It did not matter what they said to me. It did not matter. And if they said something cross, they probably got more violet flame. This one elder lady, I mean, she, you can tell when people snobby-ish like around you and stuff like that. Listen, I sent her loads and loads of violet flame. We would sit in our particular trailer, and then before that meeting, and sometimes I would key in on certain people. Spirit would point out certain people to me, and I would just send them violet flame. And I did this every day. I would say almost every day. I probably was there about 4 to 6 weeks, and that's all I did. And I was generating, good money, and I truly believe that whatever I was doing, whatever I was sent there to do, along with some other forces, that I'm not sure who Spirit pointed out to do healing and to something. I believe, at one point, there was a fire. I remember this. There was a fire. And we all had to leave the building. And, they was able to contain it. But I know within the deepest places in me, whatever I was doing with that violet flame stopped that plant from exploding. Okay? And I say that, let me take that back. I do say that to be special. But I don't say that to be, or to think I'm any special, more special than the next person. I believe that we all have, these are natural powers and abilities that, you know, some of us just haven't learned to tap in and to trust. And so this is inspiration to you, you know. It's inspiration to us. And I just really wanted to share that with you guys. And I also want to say that how I began tuning into a lot of those natural powers that we have wasn't, you know, I've taken classes over the years. I've been in the premises of awakening since I was very young. And a lot of things just came, some things came naturally to me. And, you know, throughout the years, I've taken some classes with things, and, you know, and had some tutelages and everything. For the most part, I've always been initiated by spirit, you know, with certain things. That I'm saying all this to say is that a really good percentage of some of the things that have come through was actually generated just through my relationship with my divine self. Okay? The Ramadasa meditation, the Kundalini Yoga, all of these things are tools. They are tools to help us to remember, to help align us, and, you know, there's a certain pull that you do with your belly button to your spine that helps to activate, and then when you breathe that, you know, you awaken something. So these are just particular techniques that help us to access what we may have forgotten that we can naturally do. And so I'm not a stickler on, you know what I mean, you have to do it this way. I'm more with the things that I may share or may teach or elucidate. It's more about just showing that this is something that can help to empower you, but don't get stuck on a particular steps or on a particular, you know, a lot of times when you learn something, you can begin to add your own, you know, components, or you can express it in a way that feels right to you. It's something to help empower, you know, others to empower themselves. Because I have, you know, journals and things written down of things that just kind of come, and they come to me not because I'm special in that sense. They come to me because I'm open to all possibilities. I'm open. I don't particularly let, you know, what other people say this is true or this is, you know, I have to explore and find out myself. You know, you ain't going. My mom used to say to me, you know, she used to say, you don't believe stink until it was right up in your face. And that has its sometimes great benefits and sometimes consequences, you know? So, yeah, you know, you have to tell me I'm the one that when you say, oh, look, they ain't let nobody in, the door's closed, and you know, I'm like, look, let me shoot my shot, you know? This might just be the right the season or something, I don't know. But I don't let people tell me no. I have to find out, you know, myself. And so, with that being said, everything that I share with people is never meant to be um, absolute, some type of solidified. You got to get in this way. It's just to help trigger um, something in the person to help them to know that this is possible. You know, and you can come up with things yourself. I've many a times, you know, I wake up and I'm chanting, I'm saying things in my sleep, you know, and you can just get into like a free form, you know what I'm saying, for healing and just move your body and, you know, and see what comes up for you. You know, that's like a light language, a fire language, right? We're so stiff and we're so like following this and this and this and this and this. Sometimes we won't allow ourselves to tap in and tune into um, our own divine being, you know. And then when something happens, we'll say, "Oh, that was really weird," or "That was really," you know. And so we kind of shut down those centers when we do that, because whatever may come forth in your natural alignment to divinity may be very different than anything that you have ever seen or heard of. And sometimes you don't even have words for it. I've had a whole lifetime of those. Continue to develop your relationship with your inner divinity. And the more you accept and allow, the stronger the voice, that inner voice becomes. It's just a part of you. It's a natural ally. You know, it is you. It can, you know, advise you against walking down that street or taking this choice in life, or, excuse me, having a relationship with that particular man. You'll get that feeling. And, you know, we all already get particular feelings, and you have to know how to read those feelings, because this is a part of, right, like, you know, psychic intuition and things of that nature. But the different feelings will show up in different areas, right, of your body, because your body is also a living being. Your hands, your feet, you know, everything that is in your body, you may think this is just a bone or this is just a finger. This finger is here physically, and it has flesh and bone and cells, but it's also connected cosmically to something. You don't even know what it's for. What is the thumb for? Okay, I hold the pen, you know, between my forefinger and my thumb. No, that's not all of what it's for. It has a connection to your inner body, and also has a connection to the outer realms. as well. I'm not saying I know. I don't know. Some things I do know. Um, I'm saying all this to say, you know, liberate yourself from the fear of discovering you. Okay? So, thank y'all for listening and for joining in. And y'all stay tuned. Y'all stay tuned. Y'all stay tuned. Y'all stay tuned. You know, watch for me in these videos. My affirmation: I am Ken 226, Sangoma Zakia L. I empower in order to equalize, commanding opportunity. I seal the store of death with the overtone tone of radiance. I am guided by the power of timelessness. And until the next one, see y'all soon.